This is it, baby. All right. Rogue's Tavern is live once again. And we are here to read from the Book of Facts, 1916. Yeah, baby. All right. This is the Standard Dictionary of Facts. Publication date 1916. So this is 102 years old. For those of you who haven't tuned in previously to a Saturday night episode of the Rogue's Tavern, and yeah, I might be slightly inebriated. And I'm missing something here. I'm missing something important. So I'll be right back in a moment. And what we'll do is we'll bring up something to entertain you folks while I'm here. Something to think about for our Sunday morning service. Tomorrow morning, 8 a.m. Think about this. Oh. That's weird. Huh. Okay, well, hopefully that's hearing it. You're hearing it. I'm not. Question I've got. Why I'm not hearing it. Testing 1, 2, 3. No, you're not hearing it either. That's truly weird.
Remind.
You're not hearing that. Why aren't you hearing that? Sounds turned down. There we go. That's why. All right. Anyway, this brings me back to the Book of Facts, since I had to run out of the room anyway. So, where we left off last time, we left off with the African War. And the African War being something of interest. I'm still impressed that one person has tuned in. Leave me a message. Let me know who you are. All right, so here's where we're going to leave off, where we're going to start. We're going to start with the African War. African War. The African War. The first African War was undertaken by the Romans for the restoration of Hemispal to the throne of Numitra. Aethnobarbus, the leader of the Marian party in Africa, had dethroned him, but Ninus Pompey slew Hannibarbus and restored Hempalsal in BC 81. So the first African War was in BC 81. The second African War was between Caesar and Seppico in BC 46. Well, Africa's been fought over an awful lot. Caesar defeated the party of Pompey at Thapsus in Africa and thus put an end to the Civil War. The third African War was undertaken by the Romans against Tacfarnius and Numidian in the reign of Tiberius. Tacfarnius, having collected a large gang of freebooters, defied for some years the Roman arms in Numidia, but was ultimately overthrown and slain by the Dobella, AD 24. The fourth African War was between the Romans and Vandals in Africa. The Vandals under Genseric took possession of the Roman dominions in Africa and continued masters for 105 years. AD 429 to 534. Belisarius was sent into Africa by the Emperor Justinian to win back the African dominions, and he utterly overthrew the Vandals, took Carthage in 533, and returned to Rome in triumph in AD 534. That must be the Carthage Wars that they're always talking about in Roman stories. They're talking about the wins at Carthage in 533. That must be what they're talking about. All right, well, that's that. The Agrarian agitation in BC 480. The great Roman Agrarian agitation was set on foot by Spurius Cassius, who had been 3 times consul. To win popular favor, he told the people that the Senate ought to give an account of the land taken from the Volsci, which ought to have been equally divided among the whole people, irrespective of rank. The Senate, to allay the popular clamor, promised to give the matter their best consideration, but arrested Cassius and hurled him from the Tarpeian Rock. Well, that sucks for him. The Senate, to allay the popular clamor, promised to give the matter their best consideration. Okay. And then they arrested Cassius and then hurled him from the Tarpeian Rock, whatever the Tarpeian Rock is. Who the fuck knows? Things went well until BC 464, when Herdonius the Sabine got possession of the capital. Then the Senate promised to pass an agrarian law if the people would eject the invaders. That means the people had to eject the invaders, whatever the eject the invaders is. The invaders were expelled, so the people must have ejected them. But it was not until BC 365 that Licinius Stolo, the plebeian tribune, had a law passed making it penal for anyone to hold more than 500 acres of the public lands. So it was against the law to own more than 500 acres of public lands. That's an interesting concept. Well, what shall we do about that? I really don't know. Glitch. That's what we'll do. All right. That leaves the agrarian agitation behind. Not really much there. Let's move on. Alabama. Let's see if we can get it like Forrest Gump. Alabama. No, we're still not. I don't know where my southern accent's at. My southern accent, Alabama. Fuck, I'm just not doing it. I still can't believe somebody's watching this. The name derived from the Indians, Alabama, the name derived from the Indians denotes, here we rest. So that's what Alabama means. Alabama means, here we rest. I want to keep that one in my head. Keep that in your head. Alabama derives from the Indians, and we're talking about the Indians of America, not the Indians of India, the Indians of America. I know it's not PC to say Indians, but even Indians say Indians. So we'll go Indians instead. Injuns. Anyway, here we rest. Originally a part of Georgia. So Alabama was part of Georgia. See, there we go. There's the southern accent. Alabama. Now I got it. Alabama. Alabama was part of Georgia. I needed to say Georgia to kick in the southern accent. So Alabama was part of Georgia. The country included in Alabama and Mississippi, Mississippi, I on you, was organized as a territory in 1798. In 1812, that part of Florida. Well, how'd they go from Mississippi to Florida? In 1812, that part of Florida, then belonging to Spain. So Florida belonged to Spain at one time. Lying between the Peridot and the Pearl Rivers in the Gulf Coast, was seized by the United States troops and annexed to the territory. Alabama remained a territory after the western portion was admitted as a state under the name of Mississippi. Sidetracks, phone, texting. Hey, we could have somebody join us here. This would be fun. We got all kinds of shit going on tonight. All right, let's back that up just a little bit for my one listener out there enjoying the show. The United States troops and annexed to the territory. Alabama remained a territory after the western portion was admitted as a state under the name of Mississippi, and was itself admitted as a state in 1819 on January 11th, 1861. The Ordinance of Secession was adopted by the Secession Convention, and in February, a provisional Congress met at Montgomery and organized the government of the Confederate States. Jefferson Davis was inaugurated President of the Confederacy at Montgomery, February 18, 1861. So see, the southern states did become a country unto themselves. And what's funny about that, and this is a side note, this has to do with the War of Northern Aggression, which of course is what it was, and how the United States does not even acknowledge its own Constitution, because within the Constitution there is stuff set out for states to secede from the Union. And these southern states did secede from the Union, but because the northern states went, fuck no, you can't do that because you have all the fucking goods that we need up here in the north. We can't have you succeeding from the Union and then charging us an armload, boatload for all that shit we need. We're going to war to make sure you stay in this fucking Union. That's exactly what happened. Anyway, back to it. Jefferson Davis was inaugurated President of the Confederacy at Montgomery, February 18, 1861, and the government seat was moved from Montgomery to Richmond in July 1861. Mobile was finally captured by the Federals in April 12, 1865, and on May 4th, the state was included in the surrender made by General Richard Taylor. After the Confederate surrender, the state passed under the phases of provisional and military governments until 1868, when it was regularly reconstituted as a state in the Union. So they weren't actually a state back in the Union until 1868. In 1901, a constitutional convention was called to regulate Negro suffrage, was in session from May 21st to September 2nd at Montgomery. On November 11th, 1901, the new Constitution was ratified by popular vote. In 1907, a notable effort was made by Governor Comar opposing federal interference in the regulation of the railroads of the state. In 1911, the legislature passed a bill providing for the adoption of a commission form of government by the municipalities of the state. There you go. There's the history of Alabama. All that it is. Alamo, or The Alamo. Remember the Alamo. David Bowie and no, not David Bowie. Jim Bowie. I got the names wrong. David Bowie was a singer. Jim Bowie. Bowie knife. All right. Let's get a drink here. We need more booze. I mean, what is this show without booze and entertainment to make it fun? Are we having fun yet? Oh, I went silent, didn't I? Shouldn't do that. This is a live show. Dead air. Dead air. Dead air. Dead air. Dead air. Dead air. Dead air.
You will obey.
To the gate, to the gate, to the climate gates.
If you're male, you're a pig. If you're cis, you are privileged. Skin is shaving if you're big. And if you're straight, you're homophobic. Heaven help if you're wrong. So don't have an opinion. And just do what you're told.
All right, let's continue this on. Alamo. The Alamo. The Alamo, a mission church at San Antonio in what is now Bexar County, Texas, converted into a fort. In 1836, yeah, you know where my mind's at. In 1836, it was occupied by about 150 of the revolutionists in the Texan War of Independence. Though attacked by 4,000 Mexicans. So we got 150 people defending the Alamo against 4,000 fucking Mexicans. Under Santa Anna, the Texans held it from February 23rd to March 6th. February 23rd to March 6th. That's about a week and a half. Maybe 2 weeks. That's a long fucking time. When Santa Anna took it by storm, well, you got 4,000 storming it. Eventually, you're going to overwhelm them with just fucking numbers. They can only kill so many people before they run out of fucking bullets. All but 7 of the garrison perished. 6 of these being murdered after their surrender. So the Mexicans were fucking ass whips. And 1 man escaping to report the affair. In this garrison were the celebrated David Crockett, or Davy Crockett, and Colonel James Bowie, inventor of the Bowie knife. The memory of this massacre became an incitement to the Texans in the subsequent encounters. Remember the Alamo! Oh, that would have peaked everything real well. Remember the Alamo! Yeah, I got to remember to move back from the microphone. Became a war cry in their struggle for freedom, which, of course, Texas eventually won. And for a long time, Texas was its own republic until the United States managed to talk them into fucking joining them. And for some reason, the fucking fools went ahead and did that. Oh, I did it again. I went silent. All right, next item. Aliments. How long have I been doing this? I have been here for, holy fuck, 20 goddamn minutes? Really? I haven't hardly fucking read anything. Who the fuck are you that's actually watching this? Still unbelievable. I know it's not me because I'm not signed in. It doesn't include me in here. It says 0 when nobody's watching, but somebody's watching right now. Huh. All right, Aliment, a confederacy of tribes which appeared on the banks of the Rhine in the 3rd century, and for long gave no small trouble to Rome, but whose incursions were arrested first by Maximus and finally by Clovis in 496, who made them subject to the Franks, hence the modern name in French for Germany. And the Germans. Oh, wait a minute. This is interesting. And the Germans. We got a lot of American battles tabulated. I don't think I'm going to go through the American battles tabulated. There's a lot there. Followed the subjugation of Yemen by the Turks. Oh, wait a sec. There we go. Wait a sec. There's really not much there. That's kind of bizarre. That leaves me hanging. It just jumps from that little snippet of Aliment. Aliment, a confederacy of tribes which appeared on the banks of the Rhine in the 3rd century and for long gave no small trouble to Rome, but whose incursions were arrested first by Maximus and finally by Clovis in 496, who made them subject to the Franks, which of course is the French. Hence the modern name in French for Germany and the Germans. What's the modern name in French for Germans and Germany and Germans? Okay, we're going to have to go look that one up because I really want to know. Modern name for Germany and French. Oh, Almagen. Nom modern pour Almagen. Almagen, Almagen, Almagen. I remember that from a movie. Star Wars, Star Trek, actually. It's from a Star Trek movie. Almagen. So they were going, Germans, Germans, Germans. That's interesting. You know, if you pay attention to movies and when you start looking through the history, you start seeing all the names that are in our modern movies come from our history, ancient history, old history. It's really kind of a bizarre thing. I've been seeing more and more of it, and I'll bring more and more of that forward as it sticks in my brain, but it's really quite kind of fascinating when you think about it. All right, we'll go on to the next thing. All right. Arabia, the history of Arabia before the time of Muhammad. This is before Muhammad and Muslimness. And we know Muslim is just another fucking bullshit religion created by another guy who decided, I am a fucking prophet. But that's me. I'm a prophet. I'm going to create my own religion real soon, folks. So you can join me. I'll be a prophet. Send me money. Hallelujah. Save the Lord. All that other bullshit. We'll make it more entertaining. Anyway, the history of Arabia before the time of Muhammad is involved in mystery. The Aborigines of Arabia were probably Cushnites, most of whom passed over into Abyssinia. A few, however, remained, who inhabited the west coasts. Subsequently, another Semitic race descended from Abraham. So Muhammad might be descended from Abraham. And if you follow my Sunday morning service, you'll find out more about Abraham. He was a bit of a douchebag. Settled in the land, the oldest Arabian tribes are now extinct, and only the traditional memory, even of their names, exists. But the Seminite chiefs, Joktan and Kathan and Ishmael, are generally considered to be the fathers of the present inhabitants. Christianity found an early entrance into Arabia. The Jews, in considerable numbers, migrated into Arabia after the destruction of Jerusalem and made many proselytes. The great diversity of creeds in the peninsula was favorable to the introduction of the doctrine of Muhammad. Keep that in mind. Because of the way Arabia was, it was favorable to the introduction of the doctrine of Muhammad, which forms the grand epoch of Arabian history and brings it into close connection with the general history of civilization. Now, for the first time, the people of Arabia became united and powerful enough to erect new empires in 3/4 of the world. In the 3/4 of the world. The dominion of the Arabs from the time of Muhammad to the fall of the Caliphate of Baghdad in 1258. So that's where the Caliphate comes from. It's 1258 when they fell. That's kind of interesting. See, the thing is people, you hear all this stuff and you hear all these things like, the Caliphate! Who the fuck is the Caliphate? So they someone that fell in 1258. Oh, wait a sec. Hang on. I might even have something here. Here it is. Caliphate! And even the expulsion of the Moors from Spain in 1492. Now, I know a teeny bit about that because I lived in Spain and I heard about the Moors. And I actually visited caves that Moors lived in Spain. They were really quite fascinating. It is an important period in the history of civilization, but the movements which had such great effect on the destinies of other nations produced little change in the interior of Arabia. And after the brilliant career or conquest was ended in the peninsula, was left in an exhausted condition. How can you leave a desert in exhausted condition? Then followed the subjugation of Yemen by the Turks in the 16th century, their expulsion in the 17th century, the dominion of the Portuguese over the Muscat, 1508 to 1659. Took them 150 years. That's interesting. The conquest of Oman and the temporary victories gained by the Persians at the close of the 16th century. And lastly, the appearance of the Wahhabis, 1770, whose moral influence is still felt. The latter took an important part in their political affairs in Arabia, but their progress was interrupted by Mehmet Ali, the Pasha of Egypt, who subjugated the coast country of Hejaz with some parts of the coast of Yemen, and in 1818 gained a decisive advantage through the victory of Ibrahim Pasha. The subsequent events of the year 1840 in Syria compelled Mehmet, however, to concentrate his forces and to resign all claims upon the territories lying beyond the Red Sea. Politically, Hejaz, Yemen, and El Hassa are really 3 Turkish provinces, and Sinaitic Peninsula is in Egyptian hands. England exercises much influence in Hadramawt through her possessions of Aden of the Sultan of Oman, is practically independent and in alliance with England. And this is how it was in 1916. Wow. Whoever you are, you're still watching me. I really wish I knew who you were. My one loyal fan. Thank you for tuning in. All right. I think this is where I will wrap it up for the night, is after this one. Because it's been half an hour already. And I try to keep this to half an hour. Even though I ramble, wander, and do shit like...
Fear is freedom! Subjugation is liberation! Contradiction is truth! Those are the facts of this world! And you will all surrender to them! You pigs in human clothing!
Hallelujah! Okay. Argentine Republic. This is where we're going to finish it. We're going to finish it up with the Argentine Republic. Yes, we're reading this dictionary from A to Z, not skipping anything. Except we skipped this whole chunk section that listed out the American battles tabulated. Now, I can tell you this one, let me just read this one bit here, because this is important. The American battles, the first one noted in here was from July 1808. Oh, they're A to Z. They should have put them by year. This is really kind of shitty. It would have been much cooler if they put them by year, because we've got one, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We got 9 pages. 9 fucking pages of American battles. Now, of course, when I look through here, I looked at the countries. It was mostly with the English, the Confederacy, the Spanish, the English, Confederacy, the Spanish, the Picarone. And these are the wars that are just up to 1916. So this included some of World War II. Or World War I, not World War II. Because World War I ran from 1914 to 1918. So anyway, it's just way too many of them there. It would have been cooler if they were by year, because I could have figured out what year they started in. Somewhere back in 1700 and ran all the way to 1916. There were constant battles. It's like every 6 months there's a new fucking battle. And I don't think it's let up ever since. The United States has been continuously at war. But then again, so is, like, Canada's been continuously at war with somebody. You know, whether they admit, oh, we're a peaceful country, blah, blah, blah. No, we've been at war with multiple countries. Yeah, we go and help the United States. It's still us at war with somebody for some stupid fucking reason. But that's the history of the world. There is no point in history in the whole goddamn world where some country has not been at war with another country. Some countries might have been at peace for 15 or 20 years, but when you look at the history of the world, no country has managed to last more than 25 years at peace before they were at war again with somebody. And it's usually for some stupid fucking reason. Often a woman, sometimes property, money, but it's always something stupid. Women, property, money, or resources. That's the whole thing. Women, property, money, and resources. Dumb, dumb, dumb. And they say, let women run everything. It'll be perfect. Yeah. Bullshit on that one. That's a podcast for another day, though. All right. Argentine Republic. In 1515, Juan Diaz de Solos, while searching for a passage into the Great South Sea, newly seen by Balboa, entered the Rio de la Plata. In 1526, Sebastian Cabot, son of the discoverer of Newfoundland, penetrated nearly to the confluence of the Paraná and the Paraguay, being arrested by the rapids, which afterwards gave the name to Corrientes. In 1535, Buenos Aires was founded to command the only outlet of the country, in conjunction with its own colony, Montevideo, in the opposite bank. It has virtually monopolized the history of a region equal in extent to Western Europe. Gradually, other cities were planted, partly by colonists from Spain and partly by adventurers from Peru, each city generally giving its own name to its own province. The chief staples of the country, horses and cattle, had been largely introduced before 1552. Down to 1775, the basin of the Rio de la Plata was dependency of the Viceroy of Peru. In that year, however, was erected the Viceroy of Buenos Aires, which to the basin in question added Bolivia under the name Upper Peru, thus embracing the headwaters of the Amazon, and also most of the plateau of Titicaca. Titicaca. I love titties. Titties are nice. Titicaca. The year 1806 ushered in a new order of things. Spain, as an ally of France, being then at war with England, both Buenos Aires and Montevideo were occupied by the English, a change which, brief was its duration, virtually sowed the seeds of revolution. The colonists had felt the inconvenience of belonging to a state which left them in great measure to defend themselves. They had successfully tried their strength against a foe. They had successfully tried their strength against a foe more powerful than their own masters, and they had been encouraged not less by the sayings than by the doings of their invaders to assert their independence. The triumphant militia, after deposing and expelling the legitimate viceroy for cowardice, elected in his stead the French officer who had led them in victory. Thus had the viceroyalty of Buenos Aires become peculiarity ripe for taking its shrine in the outbreak which Napoleon's dethronement of the Bourbons in 1808 almost immediately occasioned throughout Spanish America. The constituents of the Argentine Republic did not, however, submit to the sovereignty of Joseph Bonaparte when he was shuffled on to the Spanish throne to replace Ferdinand VII. In 1810, they organized a government in the name of Ferdinand. After a short and inglorious period, this arrangement ended in utter confusion. In 1816, a general congress declared the independence of the United Province of Rio de la Plata. But these provinces, in 1827, returned once more to the state of isolation. In 1831, Buenos Aires entered Rios, Cortez, and Santa Fe, sometimes classed as the coast or ravine states, entered into a federal compact and invited the others to form a voluntary alliance with them. This Argentine confederation led to a little but anarchy till 1835, when General Rosas was elected captain general or governor of it. With all but absolute power, he secured quiet and order for a time, but his struggles to achieve the military and commercial supremacy of the Buenos Aires led his overthrow in 1851. Buenos Aires, refusing to submit to Urquiza, the next governor of the Argentine Republic, declared itself independent in 1854. But was compelled by a signal defeat at Capita in 1859 to re-enter the Confederation. Wow, that's a hell of a lot of shit. Continuing, num 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 diddy num 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 diddy num 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 num. Hey, I lost my listener. Oh, that's sad. You hung in there for half a fucking hour, though. I'm impressed. Continuing restlessness. However, another war placed that province in the position of supremacy, which it still holds. In 1881, the Argentine Republic, in conjunction with Chile, came into possession of Patagonia and Terra del Fuego. A financial crisis in 1890 did much to temporarily retard the industrial progress of the Republic. In 1906 to 1907, immigration was encouraged on an extensive scale, and railroad building received a renewed impetus. The immigration law of 1911 excluded all but able-bodied immigrants. In 1912, Argentina spent more money on education than on her army and naval combined. Oh my God, that's impressive. That's where we hold it. We're going to stop there. Our next step will be Arizona. And what shall I do? Well, thank you to the No Agenda Show for the jingles, which we've used tonight.
Glitch.
And got another. Watch your back. All right. Well, thank you very much for listening to the show tonight. For those of you that bother to take time and watch it, I'm impressed if you follow it this far. It's 42 minutes in. And yes, I am inebriated, and I'm going to have some fun with it. Now that we are at the point of the show where it is utterly fucking boring as fuck, I'm going to have some fun here. Because this is something I've been wanting to do for fucking ages. We're going to go through my Facebook feed and we're going to read some of the pointless shit in here that is in my Facebook feed. All right, let's see what we've got here. We'll just scroll down my Facebook feed so I find it. Oh, here's something useful. An all-girl engineer team invents a solar-powered tent for the homeless. Yay, the homeless need that. But that's not the point of this. This is the point about all girls. They're really focusing on all the females, the whole female engineering team. It's like, oh my God, they couldn't have done it any other way. It could never have been done if it wasn't an all-girl female team. But cool invention, though. And why would they do it for just the fucking homeless? I mean, you know, the kind of marketing that this is for? I mean, God, somebody's got to step in here and grab hold of this. I mean, you could make a mint off of this fucking thing, marketing it to people who can actually afford to buy the goddamn thing. Homeless can't afford to buy it. You got to give it to them. Let's face that fact. I mean, a solar-powered tent that charges your cell phones and everything. It looks like it fits in a oversized goddamn backpack. That's an awful big fucking tent. How much does this goddamn thing weigh? Did they say? No, they don't say. But it's got lights. It's cool. And they're all girls. Do-it-yourself girls. Oh my God. Do-it-yourself girls. The team got a $10,000 grant to invent this fucking thing. All right. Let's go down. Next thing we got. Amazon reportedly left police in Spain dumbfounded by asking them to intervene in mass warehouse strike. Okay, we'll leave that one to be. FEMA won't enact a major housing program that would help California wildfire survivors. Yeah, those folks have got it shitty. Sucks to be them. Flint schools receive water stations, filtration systems from Elon Musk. Elon is doing good. Let's see what else we got here. Ooh, some girl can fit all her trash from the past 5 years in a single mason jar. Okay, what'd she do with her shit? We're not going to play it. All right. North Korea is ignoring Donald Trump as nuclear site expands. Yeah, we're going to have to take a break here for a moment. We still must have the sound down. We do. Got my beer. That's enough. All right, let's go back to the Facebook feed just for fun. All right. The liberal government's meddling in media independence has just begun. This is for all you Canadians, man, the Scandinavians. All right. The liberal government's meddling. Historically, a free press has meant freedom from government intervention from the king, the president, the prime minister, politicians, and bureaucrats. Yeah, bullshit. The proposal outlined by Finance Minister Bill Monroe to rescue journalists pretends to be consistent with the fundamental principle. The measures, he said, will be arm's length and independent of the government. They are not. And they represent a step backwards for Canadian journalism. Under the Monroe proposal, the arm of government is directly involved in deciding which journalists or news organizations will receive special treatment, tax breaks, charitable status over 5 years. The amount of federal money moving directly into news and journalism will exceed $600 million, which obviously means results in government dependence, not independence. Monroe's own words betray the falsity of his defense of the media bailout. It's a media bailout plan. Ottawa aims to boost the edge with $16 billion in tax breaks for businesses. Yeah, okay, whatever. So basically, Canadian government's going to give money to journalists, but only, I'm sure, if they speak well of the Liberal government, which only a few people do. Uh-oh. Trump's being a douchebag again. Surprise, surprise. He's an asshole. Nobody saw this coming? Really? How could you not seen it coming? All right, here's Trump. Here's the story. Trump just promised to disobey a federal court's ruling in an unhinged Saturday night Twitter rant. Okay, what's the federal court ruling? Donald Trump doesn't seem to have gotten the message that his white nationalist obsession. You know, that's bullshit. He's not a white nationalist obsessionist, but that's a whole nother story. With immigration was roundly rejected by voters who defeated. You know, they defeated Republican candidates, not in record numbers in the midterm, but actually less than people think. Despite Trump's fear-mongering over Canada, blah, 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 blah. Oops, that's not going to work. What do we do here? Let's see how we can. What are we going to do here? This is the time of the life. Well, with Trump's candidacy, let's see. Migrants at the southern border will not be allowed into the United States until their claims are individually approved in court. We will only allow those who come into our country legally, other than that of our very strong policy is catch and detain, no releasing into the U.S. Really? This is like the strangest fucking thing here. And I will stay in Mexico. Trump's not saying I will. Trump is continuing this by saying all will stay in Mexico if for any reason it becomes necessary. We will close our southern border. There is no way that the United States will, after decades of abuse, put up with this costly and dangerous situation anymore. Well, sounds like a pretty decent policy to me, but the Washington Post doesn't agree. Oh, but he was using terms that dehumanize the refugees by referring to them as if they were trout deemed too small to legally... What? Catching... I love the twisting in this. This is impressive. By using terms that dehumanize the refugees by referring to them as if they were trout deemed too small to legally keep rather than sentient beings. How the hell did you get that from this sentence other than that our very strong policy is catch and detain, no releasing? It's like, okay, they're trout to moreover, while it is unclear from Trump's semi-coherent tweet, that is pretty fucking crystal clear to me. It certainly appears that he is planning to defy a recent court decision regarding his immigration policies that blocked his attempts, limiting asylum requests by refugees as violating federal law. Oh, I don't know about that. I would have to really dig into it. Yeah, this is really kind of fucked. I love the way the media twists everything. It's like he was putting out something actually quite coherent, and they twisted it into something incoherent. These are the things that arrive in my inbox or in my Facebook feed. But then again, I love following everybody, left, right, in the middle, as far right, left, far left as you can get, because you can only get the true story by listening to everybody. You can never get the true story by listening to one fucking side. You must listen to the whole fucking story. That's all there is to it. Oh, here's a great one. Wife. This is a joke, by the way. Joke, joke, joke. Alert, alert, alert. This is a joke. A joke. Wife. Look at that drunk guy. Husband. Who is he? Wife. 10 years back, he proposed to me and I rejected him. Husband. Oh my God, he's still celebrating. Yeah, that one's good. I like that. I like that. That's good.
Get out of my vagina!
That one's so good. I want to say that one again. Wife. Look at that drunk guy. Husband. Who is he? Wife. 10 years back, he proposed to me and I rejected him. Husband. Oh my God, he's still celebrating. All right. We're just having way too much fun. Oh, here's an interesting one. Let's see what we got here. Oh, Hillary Clinton blasts Fox News as fully owned subsidiary of Trump administration. That must be entertaining. Really? I didn't think Fox News was all that behind Trump. Oh, are we having fun yet? Yee freaking ha. We're not really fighting a whole lot tonight. We gotta do this sometime during the day. Oh, wait a sec. Here's one. From Cold Dead Hands. Trump. Before we ask what is fair to illegal immigrants, we must ask what is fair to American families, students, and taxpayers. Repost if you agree. Well, I'm not reposting, but I just don't repost. All right. Yeah, this is a boring time of night. It's more fun in the afternoon. There's really much more entertainment. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, we got half-naked women. Yay for half-naked women on Facebook. Krampus. All right. I love Krampus. Oh, sure. Everybody says they want to keep Christmas traditional. But when I dress up like the Krampus, put their brats in a sack, and beat them with reeds, suddenly I've gone too far. Yeah, I like Krampus. Krampus really knows how to deal with fucking snowflakes of today. We have way too many fucking snowflakes in the world today. All right. It's been an hour. I think it's time to wrap this baby up. I lost my listener. They disappeared on me. All right. We're all done. Thanks for listening. This is the show. Tune in next Saturday night for the Rogues Tavern Book of Facts, 1916. And tune in every Sunday morning, 8 a.m. for the Sunday morning service from the Rogues Tavern, where I read from the Bible. And I'm up to chapter 8 or 9 of Book of Genesis. It's fun. Take care. Have a good night. That's all we've got for you.
Amen. Fist bump.
Most
Take care now. Bye.